We are live. What is up? What is up, folks? SeeJeanty back at it again. Haiti Biz news show. It's been a bit. It's one month. Of course, we do it month to month. We used to do it day to day. Believe it. I was looking at some highlights from when we used to do this thing day to day, and I'm like, man, how did I had some time back in the day? Don't have that much time these days. We brought it down to a week, and now we're down to a month. But I'm always going to do a month. Always going to do a month because it's important. It's important that I connect directly to so many of you guys. Each month I do it. We gain about 1,000 subscribers, so it's an opportunity for a lot of you guys to meet with me and speak and type and connect directly. So, and on top of that, I stay on the post of current events, which I can quite honestly say it's not so easy when you're here in Haiti and you're in the grind, you're doing what you have to do, nose down. It's difficult to quite frankly stay on top of the smaller current events outside the big current events, right? So it's as always, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being here, and I'm going to go ahead because I want to get this episode started. I want to hit the news quickly. I have, as you can imagine, a very busy day ahead of me. So I did want to just make sure I spent the time as promised with you guys. So let me go ahead and do what I usually have to do in the background and let the little intro sequence go. We'll be back in about 2 minutes, and yeah, we'll jump right into the thick of it. And while we're, of course, when I'm doing this, do go ahead and share the stream to friends, family, anyone who wants to get a little bit more information about what's happening in Haiti from a macroeconomic perspective, from a tech perspective. Do go ahead and here's your chance. Go and share your links, and let's get some more folks in here. All right, be right back. And we are streaming. We're streaming on IG. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Facebook. We're even on Periscope, Twitter. You know, we're on all of that. We're on all of that. So however you want to watch us, share your favorite method to consume your media. Share it. We got a conversation that we're going to be doing today that's per usual, extensive, deep. We like to go ahead and make sure you understand what's happening in the country from a TET-FRET perspective, without the sensationalism, without the vice news seasoning to it. The goal here is so you can know better, so you can do better. So welcome, folks. It's always a blast to connect with you folks directly. Now, we're a little earlier than usual. I know it's probably going to affect our count and the amount of folks who are going to be watching today. That's fine. That's fine. I hope if you're watching this later, which a lot of you guys maybe usually do the show around 11 a.m. So those who are watching later, those who are watching at the time that's most convenient, no worries. Still do what you should do, which is share the stream, share it with whoever is interested in knowing what's happening in the country in Haiti and wants to understand it from a perspective of a Haitian American who spent a good amount of time over there and now is here in the country. I'm talking to you direct from Pétionville, Haiti. And of course, for folks who don't know, we're here. I'm here. We got a few different ventures going on, and I'm trying to do what I can on my side to have a better country, have a country that's livable for every Haitian. And of course, I do what I do media-wise, not because I want to be a media personality. I could care less, actually, about fame and all that. The goal here is to share an understanding of what's happened in the country. So just as if any country, there's the things that we don't like, but that doesn't mean we don't stop working for a better situation for everyone, because there's no reality that exists without work. If we all just throw our hands up and say we're going to wait for a savior government, no one's going to do anything until the country gives total legal housing, everything to red carpet treatment is what I call it. And a lot of Haitian Americans are waiting for that. They're waiting for that red carpet treatment until I'm a VIP, right? I'm not going to do a damn thing for this country, which is I don't see how this country changes if we out here don't decide to engage. You don't like, you say there's no hospitals. Well, why don't we build hospitals for ourselves? Last I checked, Black Americans have terrible outcomes in America because their hospitals aren't theirs. They're run by others that don't give two shits about Black Americans. And last I checked, their outcomes are worse in every way because they don't have any hospitals. So why don't we Haitian Americans build our own hospitals? I don't quite education. I don't quite understand why we don't invest more ourselves in education. Every point of concern, I don't quite understand. Why is it that we Haitian Americans are waiting for big brother government, right? And we're not instead doing what we can to move the ball forward. And that's ultimately why we do what we do here. I'm so happy to connect with, honestly, I don't need a lot of subscribers. As we gain thousands of subscribers, I appreciate it. And I do hope each person we connect with, each person that subscribes and follows, we're not just here for the zent. We're not just here for time wasted. I really do think 15,000 subscribers are 15,000 people who are here to impact, here to learn, and here to do what's needed for a better country and a better experience for Haitians all around. So again, I excuse the morning sermon. Excuse the morning sermon, but you have to, given the state of the Haitian diaspora, the Haitian intelligentsia that exists. We're going to get into it. First and foremost, m'a dit un petit bail en créole parce qu'il y a plein de monde qui dit que yo pas capable comprendre pour ça. En émission sur Haïti, il parle en créole toujours au niveau me besoin faire un flex, pour moun yo connaît que m'ge capacité oui. M'ge capacité oui. Si m'de vle faire toute émission en créole, il est possible pour moi. OK, même là il a un petit accent, ça va garder, ça c'est problème pas ou. Ça c'est problème pas ou. Ça va problème pas. OK. Mais nous avons possibilité, mais alors, la situation, c'est que nous avons côté l'autre bord, parce que nous avons dit l'autre bord, nous avons côté que nous avons des informations, j'aime parler en anglais, et en plus, il faut qu'on ait tout. Et quand on a tout investissement, tout ONG, tout le monde qui a venu dans le pays, comment on a un avion moi-même, on est bon même, comment on a un avion, moins 70% c'est moun peau blanche qui a dans le pays. Il va y côté, non? Il va y côté pour recevoir l'information. C'est pas, si c'est pas Vice News, c'est pas même Airline, si c'est pas pour, qui côté, bon, notre show, CNN, Fox News, il va connaître rien. Oh, il va connaître rien sous pays. So, c'est la raison qui est, il y a besoin côté que, mon autre boy, qui, on nous pas vérité. Il y a pile influence sur Haïti. Parce que, comment on va, quand quatrième plus gros ambassade américain, c'est pas Afghanistan, c'est pas Irak, c'est pas dans le pays qui y a guerre, non? C'est pas pays ça, non? C'est Haïti, pauvre, ça, yo dit, il pas gain, il pas dans rien. Trump doit une shit all, mais, non, nous, quatrième plus gros ambassade du monde, pas la Caraïbe, non? Pas la Caraïbe, non? Du monde. Mais la wap dit que c'est Creole pour me parler seulement. On nèg ça, on moun ça, yo gen influence comme ça. Ah, c'est tout pas bon. C'est tout pas bon. Posez. OK, m'a fini là pour me dire on bien content, OK, pour me faire 2 et 3 ans dans la langue pam. OK, depuis me dégage l'autre monde qui a bay yo, Jean yo doit bay en anglais. OK. So super préféré fait l'anglais dit excusez-moi créole dit une zanmi nous une nèg pas nous qui peut-être qu'a fait ba plus bien que moi qui a avoir une perspective comme monde qui là dans pays qui ba droite sans complexe. OK, depuis c'est ça m'a donné n'importe jour qui l'autre monde qui a bye là anglais n'a bien content. Oh, bien content me fait le net. OK, but anyways, that's a little disclaimer, folks. I always have to do it. Always got to do it. Always got to let folks know Creole capacity is there. No matter how no matter how thick the English accent is, I can drop with the best of them. So got to let folks know. And secondly, I always let folks know that, listen, I do it in English because someone has to, right? When you have America that's over your shoulder, that, every move you make, they're there. And heck, you have a Haiti caucus right now. I don't think one of them is even Haitian, but they decided they've appointed themselves. Hold on, I'm jumping into the news. Hold on, let me hold on for it. Right, it's important that there is a place where the English speaking audience. Again, there's a lot of last I checked, like another news story I'm going to talk about, $382 million dollars. Remittances, that's what I'm looking for. $382 million in remittances came in last month, the month of February. Okay. What was last month? I got to look at my news notes, but it came in very recently, 382 million, right? And most of that was America. Most of that was America, right? So when you have a place that has that much economic impact, okay? Economic impact. You hear me? But they have no place to get information on your country that isn't outside of Vice News and Miami Herald and CNN and Fox News, which all they do is sensationalize this country. You'll see why your country is in the state that it is, right? So that's why we do it in English for those who are wondering, right? Okay. Now, of course, we do have a book. Our book is out. Our book is out, The 101 Ways to Make Money in Haiti, right? A lucrative business ideas, insightful success stories, and interesting business opportunities for visionary entrepreneurs. Listen, if you're not a visionary entrepreneur, I don't want you buying this book. I don't need you. Haiti doesn't need you. We need only visionary entrepreneurs. I'm dropping the link here in YouTube, on Facebook. By the way, if you're on IG, that link is just going to SeeJeanty. Same thing, little handle, SeeJeanty.com/shop, SHOP, and go ahead and check out that book. All right, it's really been well received so far. Has perfect 5 stars. thus far on the Amazon store. It will take to my website, but as soon as you click the link, it'll take you to Amazon. You can purchase the ebook or the hard copy. It will get mailed to you if you're in Haiti. You can use a service like ShipX to get the book to you, right? And so again, if you're not a visionary entrepreneur, I don't need you. If you're looking to send, import, right? If you're looking to just bring stuff in and resell it, right? You're not a visionary entrepreneur. Right? We need folks who are gonna bring new, fresh ideas. Listen to the Haitian people, right? Listen to the people on the ground, right? And give it to them the way they want to be given it to, right? So bring new ideas. Listen to the Haitians on the ground. They'll tell you how they want it to receive it, right? You don't tell them how to receive your new product. They'll tell you, right? And it's a win-win, right? You're bringing a new service, a new product to the country, and you're winning. And preferably, you're doing something completely out the box, brand new, right? That to me is a visionary entrepreneur. That is what we need in Haiti, right? If you're looking for 101, like Chris, can't even think of one. Listen, I just wrote a book has 101 ideas for you. Okay, go check out that book. It's on Amazon right now. SeeJeanty shop, right? Do check it out. For those who are interested in staying in touch, because again, I always felt so guilty when we switched the show from daily, even weekly to monthly. I was like, man, how do we stay in touch? How do we are able to continue to build the community and the ecosystem? I created the Facebook group called SeeJeanty Action Group. I do welcome you guys to join that. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost a thing. Just click that button there and just share articles, share things, share people who are doing awesome things, because we need a space where we can nourish ourselves, nourish our spirit with what is possible in Haiti, right? Not with what is impossible, which is what you heard. And there's a reason behind it. There's a reason behind where everywhere you turn, you get the impossibility of Haiti, because that fits the agenda. That fits the agenda, right? Let's ensure that the first Black Republic remains an impossibility, right? So SeeJeanty Action Group is a space where you can nourish with other like-minded people the positive, the great, the cool, the impactful players. So I do want you to go ahead and join that group. It doesn't cost a thing. And for those, a lot of folks do ask me, Chris, how do you, SeeJeanty, Chris, how do you, how do we help? How do we help you? How do you help what I'm doing here? We appreciate what you're doing here, Chris. Listen, we want to chip in. We want to keep the mission going. How do you do it? And I'm someone I always say, listen, first off, help me help you, right? Share the stream, share the video, share it to your friends, right? I do have a book, right? Do check out that book. It was written for you, right? And then of course the funds go to help fund what we're doing here at SeeJeanty Media. But for those who want a little bit more, i.e. those who would want engagement with me directly outside of our 1 month session, right? The WhatsApp group, I'm in there. I have an all-star 25+ year attorney that's in there too, to help provide answers and guide folks and provide perspective. And on top of that, we're pushing somewhere around 35 or some odd people in this WhatsApp group. And when I say people, I mean, these are all stars. These are folks who are, a lot of you guys are doing some great things. One person today, she knows who she is if she's watching, was sharing photos how in the Central Department had built an aqua farm. By the way, it's one of the things in my book, one of the ideas, built an aqua farm, and had, hired some expertise out in the Dominican Republic. I was sharing photos and sharing her experience in the WhatsApp group, right? And this is what we're talking about. This is what we're doing in this space. Now, there's a charge, $20 a month charge, right? But what you allow me to do with that $20 is I now have a second videographer that allows us to do some great work. A lot of the newer videos you've seen, it's been working together with the second videographer who's putting some great work together. A lot of the stuff you've been seeing me going to Jeremy series and doing a lot of these real cool stuff, it's really been because of the funds that you guys have provided, those in the WhatsApp group and in other ways. The book has been helpful. So if you go, for those really looking to keep this mission going, just know there is that WhatsApp group there, and of course every day I provide action tips in there. We try to do a monthly meetup, virtual meetup. Once the COVID era is over, maybe I even try to do physical meetups a little bit, but virtual meetups in there. We do a Zoom, just Folks in the WhatsApp group are invited. I switch up the times to make it convenient for folks, because it's a lot of different folks with different schedules. We got folks all around the world in there too. I got folks in Singapore, right? I got folks in Dubai, Haitians in Dubai in the WhatsApp group, right? And so the timing can be tricky, but I do invite you guys in there. Those who want to communicate with me directly, don't DM me. I'm not gonna answer you. Don't DM me. I'll tell you right now, it's gonna sit ignored. If you really want an opportunity to pick my brain directly, 24/7 almost, do consider the WhatsApp group, and you'll be going to help fund and do what we do here. I'm gonna drop that link one more time. I'm gonna drop that link one more time in the channel, right? And of course, we do have, I probably need to put this with a disclaimer when I'm talking Creole, which is there is a SeeJeanty en Creole channel. I want to drop that in there, and that's really a space because listen, I listen. A lot of folks who want to be impacted by what we have going on here. They're Creole speakers, right? And so we do have a YouTube. And probably, the biggest critique of me is, where's I gonna be in Haiti? You don't do Creole. Listen, it's cool. Listen, I hear you. I've been getting flack for years. Guess what? There's a channel now. There's only about 650 subscribers right now. So where are you guys at? Where are you guys at? Where are you guys who are saying we need SeeJeanty in Creole? Go ahead and give that channel some love. Literally everything we're doing, as much as I can, I reshoot, like literally on the same shooting day. I redo everything in Creole, right? So you're not losing anything. It's not translation. It's literally a Creole version of an episode. So if you don't know about it, head over there, SeeJeanty in Creole, hit that subscribe button, and share your videos to folks who maybe you shared it to English and your uncle said he couldn't understand it. Guess what? There's a Creole version for your uncle. Share it. Excuse me. Share it with your uncle, right? And of course, as I said last time, I wasn't going to repeat the hyper distribution pitch, right? But last time, I must say, I just want to thank those who hit me up after, asked for the business plan. I met one-on-one with a lot of individuals who were really interested with what hyper distribution was. Again, a lot of folks are hitting me up, Chris, let's do something. You're talking about investment. You're talking about doing something great that's going to impact the country, provide employment, provide jobs. When are you going to stop talking about? When are you going to be about it? And those who missed it, we spent almost a good 30-minute session where I literally presented something that I already raised upwards of, at the time, where was I? Somewhere around $300,000, right? And so I said, let me to finish up this final leg of investment. Let me present it to the audience and see who's interested, right? Who wants to come on board and maybe make this a success story. Make this as a story where look at what the diaspora did. The diaspora actually came together, put their money in a pot, and are doing something that's going to be generationally impactful for the country and for the people in it. And I must say, I'm very happy to say, we raised an additional $75,000, on top of that, just, committed investors. Term sheets were sent out, term sheets were signed. So happy to have that, right? And I'm not going to repitch. I said it last month. I said, hey, this ain't what the show's about, right? So I'm not going to do it again. But if you're interested, go to the last live session last month. Go check it out. It's going to be towards the beginning of the, maybe 20 minutes in or something like that. Rewatch it, and if you're interested, same, even though I'm technically closed up shop, where all the names and shareholders are with the lawyers right now being registered, but there's still no doors ever really closed when it comes to getting additional investors to do more impactful work with any venture. So it's there. Go watch it. And then over there, I did talk about how to get a hold of me on that opportunity, right? Because I'm really, really excited about what we're going to be doing from that perspective. So that's it. So that's the top of the hour stuff we just talked about, right? And we're gonna get into news. We're gonna get right into the news. But before I do, I want to say what's up to a few folks in the channel. I want to say what's up to a few folks. It is a conversation. I do encourage you folks to leave comments here. We're gonna try to talk to a few folks as we do the stream. So I want to say what's up to what number is that? Is that What number is that? 25, 30, 33. So Ole 33, I think is what if I know my Latin numerals correctly. First view from Canada. What's up, Canada? Canada's in the house. What's up? We got Edwin in the house. What's up, Edwin? What's up, man? LF, veteran LF. Good to have my veteran in the house. J-Arm J. I think I've seen you before. What's up? What's up, man? Pascal Desmango. I think first time seeing Pascale in there. What's up? We got Lance Bourgeois from Boston. What's up, Boston? Boston's in the house. Junior Vic's in the house. What's up? What's up? We got Jupiter. Jupiter is in there with the French. James Lubin is in here. We got Slim Pierre. We got Broly RCF is in the house. We got Arlene Wade. What's up, sweetheart? Arlene, good to have you. Always a pleasure to see Arlene. Arlene's comments always encouraging and positive. I appreciate you, Arlene. We got Brawley RCF. What's up? We got Black Atypical. Brand new. I'm seeing you. Suck passe. Hope to see you again. Black Atypical. We got yours truly, PL. Always a pleasure to see yours truly, PL in the house. Always appreciate your comments. Jimmy Latouche. Jimmy Latouche is in the house. What's up, man? Happy to have you. Happy to have you. Haitian King. First time I've seen Haitian King in here in the chat. What's up, man? Happy to have you. Lawrence Gonzalez. Always good to see Lawrence Gonzalez. Do make sure to check out his website, The Neighborhood Finance Guy, right? Because I always say you can't help yourself. You can't help others if you don't help yourself. When your plane is dropping, what do they tell you to do? They tell you to put that mask on your face before you help and share help with someone else. The Neighborhood Finance Guy is working on how to help yourself, and you help yourself best when you're financially solvent, when you're creating generational wealth. And Lawrence Gonzalez really has made his mission to do that. So again, I do recommend you check out The Neighborhood Finance Guide, spelled just like it sounds, one word.com. Check him out. We got Nature Healing. What's up? What's up? Carl Abraham. Always a pleasure to see idealistic Carl Abraham in the house. We got Victor, Aldo Victor in the house. What's up, brother? Recession Proof. What's up? What's up? Happy. You got Luce Guédon in here. What's up? Luce, am I saying Lucy? Luce Guédon? I hope I'm saying it right. What's up? What's up? Who else do I see? What other names I seen here? I want to give you guys a shout out. Port Nico. What's up, man? What's up, Port Nico? Happy to have you in the chat. We have who else? I don't want to miss anyone in my morning shout outs real quick. We got Carrie's in the house. Make sure to go check out Paradise Haitian. You know, we and check out the Pastel episode. Carrie was in there. Awesome guy doing some awesome work in Gondas. Respect to you, Carrie. Keep pushing. It's not easy, but keep pushing, man. We got Koze Ici, Koze Lodbo. What's up, man? Happy to have you. Got Jean Similus. Say happy Father's Day in there. And I guess my pop's probably watching. I'm sure Pop is really good on watching. So Pop, I know you're watching. Happy Father's Day, Pop. Happy Father's Day. And I'll be calling you very soon. Don't you worry about that. And going through IG, we got Mac and Music. Big fan of Mac and Music. Happy to have Mac and Music in here. Salute to you, sir. We got Saying Entertainment. What's up? Abraham is also in the IG watching from multiple sources. What's up? That's great, man. Happy to have you. We got Always a World. What's up, man? Happy to have you. What's up? What's up? Let's see. I don't see the name. Oh, okay, there we go. Yes. What's up? What's up? And let's see who else is in here. I think that's it. Yep, that's it. No. Let's see. Who else we have in here? Okay, now I think that's it. Yep, that's it. So again, good morning to everyone. Again, if you haven't, you can get a shout out. You didn't drop a message, right? If you didn't get a shout out, you didn't drop a message. That's you for being shy, right? So, Shanamil, what's up? Good morning. So don't be a stranger. Don't be shy. Drop a comment as the conversation is going. We look forward to having your input in this conversation. At the end of the day, it's not just me, a guy looking at a computer screen talking. It really is. I hope for it to be a conversation because we all have input that we can provide that can help someone else better understand what's happening in the country. All right. So what are we talking about today? COVID. There's been some things happening in Haiti and COVID. I mean, the situation has changed so quickly in just a month. So we're going to be talking about that. Lots of things from that perspective. Constitution. Lots of things have changed in 1 month as relates to the Constitution and the referendum. So we're going to be talking about it, right? So look out for that. So stick around for that conversation. We're going to be talking about the election. There's some things happening as relates to election in general. So do stick around for that, right? Mati-san. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Right? A lot of folks know sometimes Some of those stories I don't necessarily get covered here because it's about the economic perspective, but when something so incredible from a negative perspective happens, we do got to talk about it. We got to talk about it in the way that we need to talk about it as Haitians to properly understand it, properly digest it, and then figure out what's the path forward. All right, so we'll be talking about that today. There's some news as relates to technology and finance. CFI is looking to do some really interesting things in the ecosystem. So we're going to be talking about that. There's some things happening from a political standpoint, though I don't really go in that angle. But when American senators do a Haiti caucus in the U.S. Congress, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what that may mean in general, what that may mean from an economic perspective. We're going to be talking about that today. We've got economic indicators. We're going to be talking about what we're seeing, what's happening from inflation, what's happening from a devaluation of our good. We're going to be talking about the CPI, a lot of economic indicators that are happening in the country we'll be talking about today, right? Exchange rate. We got to talk about the exchange rate, of course, just very briefly, just to let you guys know where we're at right now for the exchange rate. Let me actually put a little note here. Okay, and then of course there's some other stuff happening. Air travel. There's some places that are going to make it a little more difficult to travel if you have a Haitian visa. So we're going to be talking about that. The PNH is doing some things local. There's some local and business development. Hospitals. There's a hospital too. They're showing some progress. We're going to be talking about those as well. There's some public works happening. There's some public works happening as well. We're going to be talking about that. There's Dominican Republic. There's going to be some stuff we're going to talk about the Dominican Republic, and one particular big news story that's been happening in DR. We're going to be talking about that. International aid. There's some international aid. There's some things happening on the international aid front. Money coming in. TPS. We're going to be talking about that today. Oh, full schedule. Agriculture. There's some things happening. The Minister of Agriculture we're going to be talking about today, right? Some things related to rice production, right? Some things related to poultry in the poultry sector. We're going to be talking about today. Competitions. Haiti has been winning some competitions as related to coca, right? So we're going to be talking about that today as well. There is some things happening, from Haitian International is what I'm calling this section. There's some Haitians doing some incredible work across the world, and we're going to quickly talk about what they're doing. In addition, there's electricity. There is some electricity news on the electricity front we're going to be talking about. That's very important, right? There is some news on reparations, actually. Reparations. France owes us. You know this. We all know this. We'll be talking about that. It's a little bit of a news story there we're going to have to talk about today. We'll be talking about it, right? And then finally, sports. I got to have so much respect for Naomi Osaka. I got to always squeeze her in. She's doing some great work, so we're going to squeeze her in. But there's also some things happening from a soccer front. And if you're following soccer, you already know what that news story is going to be about. But there's some other smaller news soccer front. Haitian soccer teams that are actually winning and not shooting own goals. So we're going to be talking about that today as well. And that's how we're going to round out the news for the day. So stick around. We've got lots to talk about. If any of the news stories, any of those stories sound interesting to anyone in your circle, in your network, do make sure that you go ahead and give them a chance to participate. Share the stream with them, right? Do share the stream with them. Let's get them in here. Let's get them informed, and let us get started. So first news story has to do with COVID. First news story has to do with COVID. Active cases have peaked beyond to 4K beyond. This is the highest peak we've seen since the start of COVID. We've seen a peak. This is the highest. I remember last time I was speaking about this, and you guys remember this, right? I was genuinely afraid for Haiti. Back in May, when I was seeing the numbers spike up, I said, hold on to your horses, hold on to, send support, send supplies, send whatever you can to help your families out here in Haiti. That was back then, and we're approaching those numbers today, right? And I can tell you, I'm not as concerned necessarily because we know what this is. Like before, we didn't even know what this is. Like it felt like what is this new thing, right? So we have a better understanding what this is, but that doesn't change anything. In fact, that almost makes it more scary because we saw how this disease has killed people in Brazil, Italy. I mean, around the world. It's just in America. America spiked for a while. India, spiked tremendously for a bit. And so it's even on the flip side, though we know what's happening, it's as scary, right? But perhaps the silver lining here is that we know what to do. We know, hey, we need to wear our masks. We need to, wash our hands. We need to, use what is this called? Gel. What is this called? I have it sitting right here on my desk here. What is this? Hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer, right? We really have to take the precautions necessary, right? And we're in a situation too where we can very easily send that. In fact, I just received a care package from my mother. Thanks, Mom. We had a bunch of masks and N95 and a bunch of different things. And, she just sent over because she's been following the news and said, hey, her son needs to be safe out here, and sent it for, everyone in the family down here. In addition to, hey, your employees, send it, give it to your employees. And that's what we need to do. We need to share care packages to people out here. And that's one thing you certainly do right now, right? And so, we're watching this. It's ravaging certain areas, particularly rough. Choctaw has seen a disproportionate amount of deaths given this population. The West Department, of course, is the highest amount, really because it's the highest population center. And of course, when I drive around and I see, you go to markets and you go to these spaces and street merchants, no one really wears masks, right? Taps are full, maybe in a tap of, how many people are in a tap? 10 people, maybe one or two maybe wearing a mask. That isn't enough, right? That isn't an enough adoption rate. Though I must say, when you go into stores and markets, they won't let you in unless you're wearing a mask. So at least that is somewhat positive. But the fact is, most people aren't. The vast majority of Haitians buy what they need for markets, and no one is wearing a mask. And so certainly my concern remains very high as I did a few months ago, because if this thing really does hit overdrive like it seems to be, I don't necessarily see how we turn this around before it kills a lot of people. Now, demographically speaking, Haiti is a very young country, meaning most Haitians have the median average age is about 24 years old only in this country. And so that certainly, I think, is going to help prevent us to see massive spikes as we do see in older countries, more developed countries that have an older population, right? So fortunately, I think that's one saving grace potentially from seeing a tremendous spike. But still, one life loss because of something that can be almost prevented. If we do what we need to do, is a waste. It's a shame. It's a painful shame, right? And so again, I'm gonna leave this new story the same way I left it before when I was reporting almost a year ago, and that is call your friends, call your family in Haiti, and explain to them. Sometimes they need someone close to them to explain to them the importance of wearing a mask, the importance of washing hands, the importance of gel, right? And so after you send them a care package, invite them to listen to you, to say, hey, wear this, right? It's not only to protect you, but it's to protect the society at large, okay? In addition, we are going to talk about the fact that the AstraZeneca vaccine has been finally accepted by the Haitian government. That the WHO, World Health Organization, is going to be supposed to be sending it relatively soon here, by end of July. But still, that's pretty long ways away, right? But the end of July currently is when they may be sending it. The vaccine really is not created, but is being produced in India. And when India saw their spike, massive spike, they, as you can imagine, they focused on their production to domestic concerns, which slowed down the supply of the doses for AstraZeneca and countries such as ourselves. The original date was that we're supposed to start seeing deliveries happening end of June, early July, but there's still no word officially on when that's going to happen. Really, I'm hearing some reports it can be as late as end of July. Thus far, Haiti has not administered a single vaccine, right? And I know it's a touchy subject for some folks. I know some folks feel very strongly and are very opposed to vaccines in general. Not even, a lot of folks will say, well, I don't know about this vaccine, man. But the fact is they're opposed about vaccines in general, for the most of them. Now, the millions of people have already taken this vaccine. Now, there's nothing without complication. There's no perfect anti-complication medicine. Even Advil can kill you if you're genetically disproposed, disproposed, is that a word? You know what I'm trying to say? Even Advil can have an adverse effect to you. I don't know what to tell you, right? If Advil can potentially affect someone, then something else would, right? But the fact is that, these vaccines have been proven to prevent the worst symptoms. These vaccines have been proven to prevent death, right? And so I'm gonna go with science. I'm not gonna go with the guy who's in the barbershop, talking about something he saw on YouTube and why he doesn't feel this is correct. I'm gonna go with the scientist, right? So y'all do what y'all want, but I'm gonna go with the scientist. And in fact, I got to be stateside sometime next month, so I can get my vaccine as well, right? Because again, it's you never know how you can be affected. So far, I've avoided getting COVID, but certainly I would not like to be a statistic of a young person, because a lot of folks think that, hey, it can't happen to me. I'm young. Ask the young folks who are in the cemetery right now because COVID did affect them, right? I don't want to take that chance. I got, God willing, got a lot I want to do here in Haiti, right? And so I can't do that if COVID gets to me first, right? So that's where I'm at. That's that news story. AstraZeneca was accepted by Haiti, and we're waiting for disbursements to come so that can get started, right? And of course, the reason why we don't have the higher grade vaccines is that, well, the higher grade vaccines, when I say higher grade, I mean, like, for example, the Pfizer vaccine, 2 doses is like 95% effective, where the AstraZeneca and the Johnson is closer to maybe 70% or so effective, right? But the infrastructure, AstraZeneca doesn't necessarily have to be frozen right up until the point in time of injection, right? It can be ported to places that are less developed, like Haiti, right? And still be overall more effective. Just so folks, in case folks are curious to know why, that is, there you go, right? So that's that news story. Let's move on to the next piece of news, right? And of course, the fact that, given the spike, the Haitian government did put a state of emergency out for the country. There is a ongoing curfew, 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. right? And there's other aspects that this COVID surge has caused, which we'll talk about as we approach these other news stories. Just want to prime you up to understand there is a wide impact of COVID. This COVID uptick is doing, or we'll talk about them as the news stories come up appropriately, right? One interesting story, of course, is DR. DR did announce that so anyone with a fixed address, you don't necessarily have to be a legal resident or not, but anyone with a fixed address can get vaccines, which has been a concern for many Haitians over there, whether or not were they at risk if they showed up to a center to be deported, right? And so they did announce this, and their primary concern is getting folks vaccinated, right? Regardless of status, right? So that is good news, and something I do want to report on that side, right? And that is the extent of where of our COVID piece, COVID section. And let's talk about the Constitution. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Constitution, the referendum specifically, and where are we at? So as I told you, a lot of these news stories is going to be COVID's going to come. We're going to come right back to COVID, right? And so the referendum has been postponed for reasons due to COVID, right? For reasons due to COVID, the referendum has been postponed, right? And it's postponed for at least 45 days. That's the official announcement, right? And the Constitutional Committee has until July 31st to come up with a new schedule and a new plan, right? And that's to give the Minister of Health and Minister of Interior time to really work on this disease and bring down the rates of infection and allow the referendum to move forward. But to be clear, the Jovenel Moise administration has been very clear that the referendum is still happening. In fact, the Prime Minister visited the UN Security Council last week. Was it this week? Recently, and stated as much. Stated that they're going to continue to move forward, even though the UN Security Council was very clear that they didn't want the referendum to happen. The UN Security Council is very clear that they want Haiti to do elections and put, shelf the referendum. But the administration is very clear they're moving forward with it. And this is just a postponement related to COVID. Now, to be quite honest with you, even before COVID, everyone keeping track of the schedule realized that they were behind, right? They were behind their schedule. For example, since really much earlier, they needed to have the final version of the Constitution to be out so folks could review, because we were supposed to have, the 27th, and the decree, there's a decree that said the final version needed to be out 45 to 30 days before. Yet we were approaching it and there was no final version, right? And which certainly I even talked about, I think last live, right? We talked about that. We're looking forward to it. In fact, I'm waiting for one of the reasons why I'm going to do a very impromptu live at some point here is to go over the Constitution with everyone. I'm going to do a bit of analysis, try to find some time first. First do some analysis and then share the analysis with you on a live. We'll have once the final version's out. Now, a second version came out that addressed a lot of the concerns and criticisms of the first version, right? But it wasn't the final version, which is why I didn't do a live. I'm not going to do a live just to have some key points that I found to be changed, right? So we're still waiting on that final version to come out, right? And so, nonetheless, the referendum has been pushed back for 45 days, and we're watching and keeping tabs. And I can tell you things have been moving forward. Ballot machines have been coming into the country. A lot of other machinery and equipment is still being dispersed into the provinces. That infrastructure is still being worked on to help execute this, right? And so it is still moving forward, right? It is still moving forward, right? And interesting news, despite the UN Security Council now, remember the Security Council is a subset of the UN in general. The UN did announce just 3 days ago, they announced that they're going to make available $33 million. I'm saying again, 33 million USD, to the Haitian government, right, for the elaboration of the new constitution, right? And so while the Security Council has expressed reservations for the referendum, right, the UN as a whole has actually said, hey, here's 33 million, right, specifically to assist with politics and good governance specifically, right? So this might surprise folks, but again, $33 million is going to help this administration execute the new referendum and elections, okay? Meanwhile, the U.S. of course had said they're not giving a penny for the elections that also have the referendum. They made that clear, but the UN is moving forward with providing funds and resources for the Jovenel administration to move forward. Now, I don't know how you may feel about this. Don't shoot the messenger. Just send the message. 33 million is being sent to the Haitian government to move forward with the referendum, right? Okay. And literally, as early as about 2 weeks ago, we did have ballot machines being received, and it started to be dispersed from across the departments, right? So we are, and other things, for example, computer equipment. I have listed here 24,000 bottles of eligible ink, right? Almost 3,000 training kits related to training needed for the election. So again, elections are moving forward. The material is coming in. The question is, when can we do it? Between a lot of the things we're going to be talking about in this next piece, violence that's happening in certain areas, and of course, COVID, that is what we don't know about yet, right? The next news story, and this is a somber bit of news. It's certainly not what I want to talk about, but we have to talk about it. Matissan. There has been a tremendous disturbance in Matissan. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it on your Facebook, on your WhatsApp. Quite a disturbance in Matissan. It happened for really the first week, though they're still happening interspersed here and there, but for a full week, nothing short of all-out war was happening in the areas of Matissan, both near the street corridor, and the general residential areas. Nothing short of all-out war that you've seen probably in Afghanistan, Iraq. I'm talking war, between gangs, between a gang called Insolent and Chrysla gang. G9 was involved, right? I mean, all the name brand gangs were involved in this really war that happened, and most importantly, the displacement patients. I mean, it was so bad. This is something I didn't think I'd see. We've seen in other large spurts of violence. I have seen folks leaving these areas briefly, right, when it gets particularly bad. But this is easily the most. I mean, some estimates has it as high as 8,500. The UN has it at 8,500 people displaced. Other estimates has it lower on the lower side, closer to 1,500 people displaced. There's folks right now living in shelters in the parks, and I mean, this is almost as reminiscent to the when the earthquake happened, and you had people who couldn't live in their homes because the earthquake either destroyed it or they weren't sure if it was going to maintain the aftershocks would maintain the integrity of the homes. And I can tell you, it's heartbreaking. It's certainly heartbreaking to see a situation that got so bad. Since then, the Eastern Primary Corridor has been regained control by the police. The interior of Matissan, Granavine, La Saline, etc. There's still fighting going on in these areas. Those areas have always been rather lawless. It's still ongoing. A lot of folks still have not been able to return back to their homes there, and the economic impact has been tremendous. We're seeing gas shortages right now in the country because just so folks know, a lot of our gas comes in from the port in Kafu, and to get to Port-au-Prince, you have to pass through Matissan. And a lot of drivers are correctly afraid to pass through Matissan, despite whatever the police say that there's control over. A lot of folks are very nervous of traveling through Matissan, right? But here's the question. The question you're probably asking is, hey, Chris, break down why. Why is this happening, my friend? Why is this happening? Now, there's theories in Haiti. Outside, because there is no hard independent body that can give you the facts, right? You're hearing things from the streets, right? You're hearing things from the streets. And there's a few different versions of what happened and why it happened, right? The first is that, listen, the first theory that we're hearing that's very popular is that, hey, it's, the referendum was coming, elections coming, and a lot of these gangs make their money and make their income through political influence, right? We have actors, official and unofficial, in the government and outside the government, the opposition, right? Who, to get folks out to the polls, and they don't really ask questions how they do it, right? By threats or by encouragement, right? They get a lot of resources around election time. Listen, guys. I'm not saying anything that no one doesn't know, right? I'm not saying anything anyone who's lived in Haiti long enough knows this is a reality, right? I don't think I'm making salacious comments right now on the live, so because of this interplay between folks wanting influence and wanting the votes of people because there's a lot of people live in these areas and they don't vote, unfortunately, per what is in their interest. They vote per what is told to them to vote. This is a sad, true reality of democracy in Haiti. Okay. And so right now they were fighting for territory, because the gang that has the most territory will get the most favors from those trying to influence Haiti's democratic apparatus in that way, right? And so that's one theory, right? And by the way, there might be multiple truths to these theories. By the way, there might be, Haiti's a fat elephant. This situation, it's a massive elephant, and you can touch one side of the elephant, and you can explain that side, right? But then explain another side of the elephant, right? And you're still talking about the same elephant, right? They have all these aspects that are true to it, right? Let's continue. Another rationality for what's happened has been simply that one particular gang called Crisla gang took over what has been a neutral territory for a long time. There's a spot just where a route nationalité splits and you start going into Port-au-Prince. I forget the name of the street. I'd have to pull up Google Maps, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Right after, say you're coming into the city, and right after you pass Matissan Church, the Church of Matissan, and then the street you turn into, you make a right, and then you pass that massive and rather obscenely, disturbingly unsanitized market. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, right? You guys know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You go to Haiti enough, right? So that area, Crisla gang started to be there, right? And menacing other gang members who also have to pass through there to do what they need to do. And the other gangs told Crisla, you need to move your people there, move them. And Crisla didn't listen, right? And it finally flared up. And the fight started, and other gang members, seeing opportunity, also got into the fight, right? So that's theory number two, which probably has a bit of truth in all of this. The third theory really has to do with nothing with Matissan, actually. The third theory says that actually there's something going on right now in La Boule Douze, right? In La Boule Douze right now, and relating to a fight for land. There's a land dispute happening right now in La Boule Douze, and there's people paying particular gangs to go and harass the counterclaimants, the folks who are counterclaiming land ownership. Gangs are being paid to go up to La Boule Douze to harass folks, and there's a fight happening, right, between some, not just a single gang, but other gangs that are fighting specifically for land, right? And one of the theories holds is that one of the reasons why, so the fight started up there and spilled over into Matissan, right? as the remaining gang members who stayed decided to start fighting with the remaining gang members who also stayed, right? And that flared up. What happened, right? And so these are the big three main theories right now that are the reason why there's what's happening in the country. And again, it really sounds, honestly, all three is probably right, right? All three is probably right, right? Or maybe all three could be wrong. You know, again, there's an independent body. The streets, this is what the streets are saying, right? And I think if you know anything about Haiti, the streets generally are more accurate than any police investigation. In fact, I don't quite understand why arrests don't happen. Like everyone knows who did what, when, where, why. I don't understand why more arrests don't happen in the country. I can tell you, everyone knows, you know, Patriot Caribe, everyone knows, you know, every bit of issue that happens in the country. Everyone knows the story, right? But arrests usually don't happen. But in any case, the police did regain control very shortly, about the 6th or 7th. The Haitian police did an operation that killed many bandits. Many of these gangsters were killed during that operation. A lot of guns were apprehended during that operation. But still, there is a degree of fear that remains for anyone passing through Matissan, given what just recently happened, fresh in the minds of people, right? And can the police maintain control of such an important arteryway for all the Southeast? And that continues to remain a question that you know, we can't really answer yet, right? Of course, one of the things I'm sure you're thinking is, you know, Chris, SeeJeanty, how can you advocate for what you're doing in this country when the situation gets so bad like this, right? You know, how can you advocate for folks, Haitians coming back, and investing, and doing what needs to be done, where there's open warfare happening between gangs in this country, right? And I can tell you, you know, that I am not here to say that, you know, that is something we need to ignore, right? Right? I wouldn't be talking about it if I felt that way, right? We're talking about it because it needs to be talked about, right? I guess my response to you is this: we can't leave this country in the hands of gangsters. You know, point blank. You know, the moment we allow terrorists to win, and this is what these guys are. These guys are terrorists, right? In any other country, we would call them what they are. These gangsters are terrorists, and we would treat them accordingly. We would treat them as terrorists, right? And they would be afforded the treatment of terrorists, right? Between drones and direct military engagement would happen, right? And we just can't keep the country in their hands. And I'm not even talking about, okay, let's be clear. I'm not talking about the street gangsters. I'm not even talking about the ones fighting. So, you know, because think about it. Haiti doesn't create guns. There isn't a single factory for gun creation. There isn't a factory for bullets. If there's a young black male Haitian with a gun, it's because they got it somewhere. They were giving it to them somewhere, right? Who's giving it to them, right? Who is funding this, right? Those are the true terrorists. And that's who I say we can't leave the country in the hands of those guys, right? Just like we don't, you know, the guys who ran the plane into 9/11, those are one set of people we have to go after. But then we have to go again. We have to go after Osama. Like, who's funding, who's masterminding this? And that can be carte blanche anyone. Pro opposition, anti-opposition. Whoever is a part of this is a terrorist. If you're sowing armed military conflict, okay, that's not allowing the society to work, you're a terrorist, right? And that's who I'm referring to when we say, hey, we cannot leave this country in their hands, right? So that's why I'm going to keep fighting. That's why I'm still here. That's why I encourage. That's why I encourage folks to help me fight, right? To come in, provide jobs, provide economic opportunity, and ultimately reduce the influence of these terrorists from our country, right? Because it's not leaving it in their hands does this country improve. It's only when we fight, we invest, we take economic control away from these guys, will this country have a chance, right? So those are my 2 cents. Let's move on. I can stick on this topic for a while. It is heartbreaking, but we do have to move on, right? So that's the news piece as relates to Matissa. The CFI is looking for commercially viable projects, right? As part of the Caribbean Project Preparation and Packaging platform, the CFI has in collaboration with the Caribbean Association of Investment Agencies, is looking for commercially viable projects that need capital to expand. They're looking for up to $1 million. If you need up to $1 million, 1 million USD, they're looking to give it to you. They're looking to give it to you for exchange, preferably. They're looking to perhaps get an equity position in your company. And one of the requirements is that you need 3 successive years before COVID, by the way, 3 successive years ending on December 31st, 2019, of finances. You need real financial statements, right? And you also need financial projections that go at least until 2022 to help them understand, how your business is doing and what's going to be used, what this $1 million is going to be used for, right? And so I think it's a fantastic opportunity for if any of my listeners are right now listening and they have such a venture, right? And I think that should encourage us to, by the deadline is June 25th, by the way, right? The deadline is June 25th. I'm going to put an email in the chat, those who are watching on Facebook and YouTube right now. I'm leaving a contact in the chat right now, email promotion@cfihaiti.com. If you're interested, do go ahead and reach out. But it should be encouraging because, that should show you that, there's if you can get started, if you can get an operation started, right, and you can at least get it to break even point, there's opportunities that exist like this that happen quite a bit for SMEs. SMEs are small to medium enterprises that you can apply for and potentially gain capital to grow and gain, right? Despite no matter what's going on in the country, right? There are these opportunities that happen and happen rather frequently, I can say, relatively speaking. Every few months, there's an opportunity like this that comes up for funding, for grants and stuff like that. So do keep an eye out. And of course, if just keep watching Haiti Biz News, we certainly will share those opportunities when they come about, right? Politics in America. First, I want to talk about politics in America. Well, not first. Usually TPS. We do talk about TPS, and we will talk about TPS as well. No, I'm sorry. We're not going to talk about TPS. I'll do a summary because we talked about it last time. There was a constitutional ruling that occurred in the Supreme Court that ruled basically for this Salvadorian couple. If you came here illegally, then the United States doesn't have to. It could, but it doesn't have to grant you citizenship just because you have kids here and you've been a good citizen, a good person, a good resident here, illegal resident, but resident here, right? Which really closes the door for a lot of TPS who was looking to say, hey, I've been here, we've raised kids here, we've started business, but the thing is, TPS isn't admission to America, right? It literally isn't admitting you. It's a temporary, just like the name states, a temporary protected status, but you got to go back home. It's sort of like a worker, farmers who come in, farm hands. You're not really here. You're being extended a period, right? Where you're going to do something, but you're going to go back, right? And so TPS, the way the Supreme Court has interpreted TPS, for many, it isn't you were never really admitted per the way the immigration and citizenship defines admittance into legal admittance into America, right? Which is unfortunate. But the other big news is the creation of a caucus delegated to Haiti in Congress, right? And the members of this caucus is Congressman Andy Levine from Michigan, Representative Valerie Demings from Florida, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, okay, and then Congresswoman Ayanna Presley, okay, are announced the formation of the House of Representation, of the Haiti House Caucus, and their mission is to work for Haiti to be free of corruption, violence, and to avoid repeated violations of civil and human rights and economic, and moving towards economic empowerment and public health crises, right? And moving away from public health crises, right? So, that's great, I suppose, on paper. That's all laudable to have the concern of Haiti to be on the foremind of people who are not of Haiti. I just always question a country that has had numerous situations that have not allowed the country to grow because of foreign interference, right? From 1804 through the U.S. occupation, through our forced indemnity, the fact that Duvalier, love him or hate him, right? I'm not opening that can of worms. Love or hate Duvalier, everyone recognizes, he stayed in power for as long as he did because he was able to play the fiddle of America and allowed him to be in power for as long as he did, right? When we talk about him just saying, hey, I'm fighting communists, I can't leave. Everyone recognizes that is a strategy that he used to gain the calmness of America vis-a-vis him potentially being an adversary of America if he didn't use that tactic, right? And so when you see that there's been a history of America interfering in Haiti and doing things, again, let's look as recently as Bill Clinton, and the fact that he's openly admitted he's apologized for devastating our rice economy, right? He's admitted it. And the fact that right now you can go bag of rice is about almost 30-40% cheaper than domestic rice, right? And one of the reasons that contributed to the overpopulation of Port-au-Prince, because of the devastation of agricultural sector to provide prices that make sense for farmers to be able to self-sustain. And that's all because of American intervention. So label me skeptic that more American intervention is going to help us. Label me skeptic at best, right? At best, that's if I was going to give the benefit of the doubt of foreigners helping Haitians. You know me, I am of the very clear mindset. Only Haitians can help Haitians. Only Haitians can help Haitians, right? Structurally, long term, right? When I say that, I mean literally, not that foreigners can't help. I think certainly foreigners are usually much more well-positioned with capital and resources than most Haitians, right? But it has to be led by Haitians, right? It has to be the input, the voice, the perspective, the game plan, the strategy of execution needs to be done and held responsible by Haitians. And I'm not sure that this caucus understands that. I'm not sure. I get the sense that this is more parental, neoliberal. Hey, we can do better than you guys. We can think better for you. We're the parents. We're coming in. We're going to correct the behavior of you dizzled Haitians, right? I get that sense. I may be wrong. I get that sense. I don't know, right? So ultimately, we'll see what this means over time and what they do with the influence. Thus far, they made it very clear they're not for the referendum. not for the Jovenel administration. They made that clear. And so we're going to watch. We're going to watch over time what this means for Haiti, for Haitians, because ultimately they're here. They've decided upon themselves that they're going to work for, their unelected officials working for Haiti. So I guess ultimately all we can do is sit back and watch. But I can tell you though, if you're in their district, right? We have their districts. I'll tell you their districts. Yvette Clarke is in New York 13. Ayanna Presley is in Massachusetts 7. We have Andy Levine in Michigan 09. I don't know if there's a lot of Haitians in Michigan. I don't know. Maybe there is, but if there is, Val Demings in Florida 10. If you're in those districts and you're Haitian, do send your congressperson, your representative, a letter expressing that, here's my perspective. If you think they're doing a great job and they should engage, then great. Send them a letter and say, hey, here's what we believe you need to do, right? And most importantly, number one should be give Haitians the capacity to think and do for themselves and work with Haitians to do that, right? That's if you're for them. And if you're not for them, you tell them that. You go and say, hey, you need to focus on America. Last I checked, there's a mass shooting every week. Last I checked, the south side of Chicago, the south side, Brunswick in New York, Liberty City in Florida. Last I checked, there's mass shootings happening and murders happening every day. Why don't you focus on your backyard, mind your business, leave us alone, right? And let us figure Haiti out for ourselves. You figure out your country. You can write that too. You can guess which I would write if I was in their district. You take a guess. So we'll leave that alone. We'll move on to the next news story, right? We'll leave in Bed-Stuy. Okay, so Roman 1918 told us Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn. That's the murder, violent capital of New York. So how about y'all focus on y'all problems? How about that, right? But again, I'm just saying you write that. I'm not saying I will write that. I'll leave you to guess what I would write. So let's talk about economic indicators. Let's talk about economic indicators in Haiti and what's happening from that perspective. It is an economic news show. We got to talk about economic indicators. This is my bread and butter. This is my sauce. This is what I wish we could just spend a whole episode on. To be quite honest. Inflation has risen 17%. 17% year over year, which is still rather high, but not as high as it was getting to. Just a few months ago, we did talk about how inflation had risen for the highest it was really since the fall of Duvalier, which was about 24 to 22%. Inflation did fall to just 17%, which is mind-boggling. To put in perspective, in America, we're looking at somewhere around 3 to 3.4% inflation, and we have the central bank and a lot of big wigs in America saying they're panicking. They're looking to raise interest rates. The Fed is looking to raise interest rates because we're looking to be at 3.4% in America. Meanwhile, in Haiti, we're at 17%, right? And just to understand what does that really mean and what categories are really seeing the highest increases, food products and non-alcoholic drinks, we're at 20.7%, 20.7% for food and non-alcoholic drinks. Articles of clothing and footwear, 19.3%. Furniture, household items and routine household maintenance, those we're seeing 15.2% year over year. And health is at staggering 26.1% year over year. So again, we're seeing where some of the big percentage point increases are in inflation for the country, which is I can just report the news. It is very much mind-boggling, and I'm an economist, undergraduate, graduate, and to see 20% year-over-year inflation, right? And a big part of that does have to do with the exchange rate. When you're not producing anything, when you're not exporting anything out to the world, you're going to see this sort of relationship with a devaluing currency and a relatively high inflation rate, right? So that's the root causes. And the root cause, of course, is, we have a Haitian government that really supports export the way it should, the way working government would and working governments do. But secondly, too, it starts with us, the individuals. And I don't know too many folks who understand that there is incredible opportunity in exporting paid products to the world. I mean, I don't know. I thought Creole Essence going on Shark Tank raising $100,000 by Mr. Wonderful would have maybe sparked a few ideas and said, wait a minute, if these guys are doing it, if these guys are taking real masquito, the thing I grew up on, and taking it and putting it in Whole Foods and putting it in some of the best cosmetic places in the world and making buku money over it, maybe I can take something I like about Haiti and sell it and buy it in Haiti, maybe transform it, package it in Haiti, and then sell it to the world. Maybe I can do that. I don't see enough folks thinking that way, which is mind-boggling. You see Scania Chocolates doing the same thing, incredible, tasty chocolate bars that are being created in the country and it's being shipped out to the world. And she's doing phenomenal, right? I don't see that. I don't see too many folks making that connection to say, hey, the growth capacity for us is to come back and to be quite frank, safety. Okay, the safety. Right? A lot of folks are, all right, cool. You think Haiti's unsafe? Cool. Build, spend a bit of time, build the infrastructure that can automatically take the products here and get them to America. And then guess what? Once you've put a solid footing of your operations here in America, then you go back to America. In Haiti. Here in Haiti, solid footing of your infrastructure in Haiti. You go back to America and you run your operation in America. You got to run it in America anyways because that's where your sales are. That's where your revenue is. So you have to be in America to lead that, because if you're not selling, you can't really buy and pay for the raw input or the package that then get packaged, preferably also in Haiti, to get it out, right? And so that to me is a strategy. I don't quite understand why more Haitians don't see it that way. Instead, they want to come back to Haiti, fight for it. I use this analogy a lot. Coming to Haiti and thinking you're going to do Haiti domestically, it's kind of like, you have to understand, like in Haiti, you ever went to an expensive restaurant? You know what I'm talking about, the ones that don't have prices on the menu. You know what I'm talking about, right? And then you order a cup of rice, right? And then they come in, they give maybe like, I don't know, a handful of rice, like this much of rice. They just plop it in your plate, and you're looking at this, and you're like, what is this? Where's the rest of my food? I don't understand. This is an appetizer? No, this is the main meal, they tell you. Like, what do you mean this is the main meal? You know how much money I'm gonna spend on this? Right? Now imagine that. That's what Haiti is. Haiti is a small grain of like a handful of rice, but yet imagine you had 100 people around the table all looking for individual grains of rice, right? And then imagine someone else comes to your table, number 101 comes and say, hey guys, hi guys, can I have a grain of rice? And you're looking at this, yo, I'm gonna stab you in the neck, son. I don't need you here. I'm already fighting 101 people. If you think you're gonna come in and get my grain of rice, I'm gonna stab you in the neck. Listen, I didn't come to Haiti. I don't know about you guys. You guys do what you want. But I didn't come to Haiti to fight for grains of rice. I'm sorry. I've expressed this, and I'll express it again. I came to Haiti to be exceptionally wealthy and to employ thousands of Haitians, okay? And know that, listen, I want to know that 1% of Haiti's GDP is because of me. My companies, the ventures I'm doing, I can earmark, okay, at least 1% of our GDP and more is coming from what I'm doing. I've come to impact. I don't know about you guys. You guys do what y'all want. But I came to impact. And I know I can impact by taking Haitian products and getting them out to the world. Okay? First off, I grew up in America. I know America. Okay? I'm coming to know Haiti, right? But I know America. I know what sells in America. I know how to sell in America. Why would I come here and try to sell in an area I don't know, right? I'll buy what I need from this country and I'll sell in the market that I know, okay? Now, I go on this little rant here because when I read these stats and folks may just get discouraged and say, oh, SeeJeanty, oh, listen, look at these stats, you know, like, what can we do? What can you do is go into the right types of businesses. Go into the right types of businesses that can impact and make you wealthy, right? I don't know, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. I don't see more people thinking this way. I've maybe met one person the entire 4 years I've been here that thinks this way, right? Everyone else is coming to Haiti to fight for grains of rice. You go ahead and do that. You fight. You come to Haiti and open a restaurant. You come to Haiti and open up a hotel, right? You know, like so many folks want to do. You're fighting for grains of rice, my friends. Good luck with that. I'm not here for that. You know, okay? Other news stories. Let's move forward. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving, right? The debt service for Haiti has increased 4,000%. This is strictly the Haitian government. It's increased by 4,000%, from 1.2 billion good to 49 billion good, 4,000% increase in 10 years. This is reported by Kestner Farrer, one of Haiti's leading Haitian economists, right? And most of this has been because of budget shortfalls and the fact that the central bank has had to basically finance the budget of the Haitian government because of decreasing capacity to fund it through tax collection, right? Which doesn't ever end well, and is one of the contributing reasons to our decreasing value of our wood, right? Because you're effectively printing money to support the expenses of our government, right? Right? And the chickens are going to come or will come home to roost, regrettably. Okay. Exchange rate right now we're sitting at 100 US HTG to 1 USD, right? Right now we're sitting at 100 USD to USD. A few months ago we were at 60. Now we're at 100. I remember at the peak when we're at 120. At a peak we're at 120. And I think I've said it before, I wouldn't be surprised before the end of this year. I would not be surprised if we're at 200. I've said it, and I'll say it again. I would not be surprised if the exchange rate was 200 good to USD. And here's the thing, here's a little secret. I think that the central bank and everyone who knows is getting ready. That is one reason why the central bank did announce that they are greenlighting a 2,500 good note, and they're also greenlighting a 5,000 good note, right, to be in circulation. Right? So they're telling you guys, yeah, we see that the currency is only going to devalue only further, and we're getting ready for bigger bills because you're going to need more of our currency to buy the same thing you've always bought, right? So that's where we're at with the exchange rate, right? That's where we're at with the exchange rate. March record transfers to Haiti. March record for the month of March 2020. This is gonna blow your mind, guys. You ready for this? Are you ready for this? For the month of March, the Haitian diaspora, that's you watching right now, most likely you watching right now, right? Cumulatively sent $380 million. This is a record. It's a record. A record. Hello. 380 million. The month before, in February, we sent 246 million. 246 million in remittances. What? Wait a minute. What? That's right. The Haitian diaspora sent 2/4, 2/5, 3/5, 2/5, more than a quarter. 38% of $1 billion in 1 month to Haiti. What? And that Haitian diaspora, that includes Haitian Americans, that includes Haitian Dominicans, and speaking of Haitian Dominicans, Philly Dom's in the house. What's up, Philly? Respect, Philly. Haitian Chileans, Haitian Brazilians, right? What? Haitian Canadians, Haitian Frenchmen, everywhere where Haitians are. Everywhere where Haitians are. What? Imagine if instead of sending remittances, and these are important. I'm never, folks who usually say this don't understand that the vast majority of people are sending these remittances to help fund their kids' schools, their nephews' schools, their wives' food, rent for their families. And then people always ignorantly say, well, we need a boycott. We need to boycott Haiti and not send for 1 month. Don't send remittances. Are you out your mind, man? Are you insane? The people who say that, I don't think they send remittances. They don't send remittances, because if they did, they're like, what are you? So you're gonna tell me I'm not gonna send food to my mother? I'm not gonna send money. I'm not gonna send money to my mother so she can buy food, so I can make a political statement. I'm gonna kill my mother so I can make a political statement. You're some people are one flew over the cuckoo's nest. I'm telling you, they have such a disconnect between what this money means, really, and their desire to do something impactful. Listen, bro, do something impactful by actually investing, right? Invest in an impactful project in Haiti, right? And regain the economic shoestrings away from those current actors who give two craps about the country and only trying to enrich themselves. That's where you can boycott. When you get to the point where you actually control the economy, you can say, all right, you know what? Now we'll do a month, and we're not going to do any investment. Then the Haitian government goes, wait a minute. What did you want again? What did you need? Oh, you needed security? We got you. Oh, you need a easier business environment? We got you. You need a plan just for you guys? We got you. But that only happens when you have the true economic shoestrings, which is job creation and investment, right? Sad to say, the remittances, this is an incredible number, but it doesn't really mean anything except that we have a lot of Haitians in the country that are depending on income and money from other Haitians outside of Haiti. That's just the reality, right? If anything, that should tell you something. One thing that's really important, people usually don't make this connection out. So I'm gonna help you out here. I'm gonna help you out with this, making this very important logical connection, right? That should encourage you to actually do something investment-wise, which is what? Yes, Haiti's poor. Yes, the people natively may not have jobs, may make a level of income that's pretty low. But the fact is, that the majority actually are getting remittance money from abroad, from countries that, there are jobs and there is free flow of money. That money can then turn around and go to your business, right? That's the calculation you have to do in your head. You say, well, yeah, in this area, most likely they aren't making money organically, but you need to ask yourself, okay, let me try to find out how many folks are receiving money in remittances in my area, and how much is it typically do they get? And then the next step is to say, okay, well, how much do you think they'll spend in my business, right? What type of business is it? Is it a business that would attract the expenditures of it? Because not all the remittance dollars go to basic necessities. Some do go to pleasure. Some do go to a nice time. Some do go to buying, a nice shirt or something, right? So you got to ask yourself that if you do decide to do a domestic-facing business, which I'm sure you listened to my rant a moment ago, does it make sense for me? But use a new calculus to say, how is this money from the diaspora potentially maybe spent in my business? Right? Something to think about. Something to think about. Okay. So anyways, let's move on to the next news story. Air travel. Ecuador is now requiring visas for Haitians. Haiti isn't necessarily being singled out. Cote d'Ivoire, Myanmar, Mali, Republic of Congo, starting as effective basically May 17th. Those folks who are from Haiti or from those countries coming into Ecuador, they have to get a visa. Just FYI on that, right? UNESCO Africa Group, right? Actually has unanimously approved the request of the Republic of Haiti to join the Africa Group of the international body. Haiti is now an observer member of the group and the first country outside of Africa to join the Africa Group within UNESCO. My Pan-Africans, where you at? My Pan-Africans, where you at? It's good news. It's good news. It's real good news. My Pan-Africans, where you at? Right? Spirit Airlines, soon a daily Miami to Port-au-Prince connection. Right now, those who are flying Spirit, you can only from Fort Lauderdale to Port-au-Prince. But very soon here, you'll be able to take Spirit from Miami, which can be convenient. Anyone who's traveled, who's had to travel to Haiti, it depends where you live. For example, when I'm in South Florida, I'm in Broward, and having to drive down to Miami, the traffic and the traffic, it's like almost an hour drive. That's a terrible experience, and then you have to wait it, and then that means you have to leave like 3-4 hours sooner. It's much more preferred to be able to, if you're in Miami, it's the other direction. You have to drive all the way to Fort Lauderdale, right? Which can be, depending on what time of day, it can be a terrible experience. And so having local additional options in your airport is great, right? No matter what you may feel about Spirit. And in Spirit's defense, by the way, I used to talk terrible about Spirit, but in Spirit's defense, okay, I was able to get their nice seats. They have like 2 rows of really nice seats. I can tell you, they're nice seats. You don't pay that much extra, by the way. They usually are sold out quick, but you don't pay that much extra, like $20-$30. And it's, listen, they have the best 2 front seat setup that I've ever seen. It's just one shy of first class. Let me tell you, for a fraction of a price increase. And it was still overall, even all the additional hidden fees they do, Spirit, they do all these hidden fees, right? It was still like $20-$30 cheaper than JetBlue when it was all said and done, which wasn't bad. It's not bad, and I travel light. I pack light anyways, because, most of my clothes and stuff are already here in Haiti. So I pack light, relatively speaking, anyways. And so, it wasn't a bad experience. So last time I flew in Spirit, it wasn't a god-awful experience. I didn't say it was good. Let's be clear, I didn't say it was good. I just said it wasn't as terrible of an experience as I've had in the past. So just FYI. Okay. So other news, local aid and business development. Entry P&H has completed the training of the 31st promotion of the National Police. They have added 640 additional police officers. And tell me, the timing is important. So 640 police officers have been added to the police force in Haiti. 133 were women. 133 were women, right? So this is great news, right? Because we're talking about insecurity. We have 640 new police officers in Haiti, which is great news, right? 2 hospitals in Haiti will now have wastewater treatment. 2 hospitals in Haiti will now have wastewater treatment. This is a UNICEF inaugurated project. The UNICEF inaugurated wastewater treatment plants for St. Luc de Tabar and hospital in Port-au-Prince, one of the top hospitals in the country. And Albert Schweitzer in Dispelé, mal dit lui, excusez-moi. Ma béquille noire parce que vous nous bien connaître côté lié. I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm not even gonna try to say it again, but there you go. For those who are watching on YouTube and Facebook, you see where that hospital is located, Albert Schweitzer, in that area. And it was funded, this wastewater treatment was funded by the U.S. Agency for International Development, right? Work began in March 2019, right? And completed relatively recently, right? In its full sense, relatively recently. That's good news. Good news. UNAFA, right? Actually, we're going to look at this story. Give me a second to read this story. This is a story that I don't think I'm going to cover here. It's not necessarily. Yeah, we're gonna. Oh yeah, I'm gonna skip that new story. Put a little note here to why that is. Okay, so the new story I do want to talk about is has to do with the call center for the population related to public works, right? So going forward, I'm going to share these numbers here. Going forward, I'm going to share these numbers here. The Minister of Public Works has announced that in order to get closer to problems related to roads and potholes and water and anything related to issue electricity, right? Communication, right? They've started a number. I'm going to share this number here. 3299, 2912, and 4460, 8036, where people can call and report, right? Now, I'm going to challenge you guys to actually share this with a Haitian in Haiti and call this number and see what experience you get. By the way, I've shared, Haiti does have a 911 number, by the way. I've shared it in the past. I think I probably have it saved here on my phone. Probably. I wonder. Let me take a look here. Bear with me, guys. I'm curious to know if I have this number saved in my phone. Oh, yeah, I do. There it is. Police Haiti. Okay. Dash 114 and then the police number, the PNH number in Haiti, by the way. And I've tested. Someone does pick up. I can't tell you whether or not, they would have came if there was a situation, to be quite honest with you. But I'm gonna give you that number here. And also the 911 for Haiti, just so you know, is 114, just FYI. Okay, it's 114, just so you guys know, right? And sorry, I was paused there on the live. I was sharing the number for the PNH. The number for PNH is 38381111, and the emergency number is 114. Okay, just so now you guys know. Save that, and if there's ever a situation, you can roll the dice and see what happens. I shouldn't be chuckling like that. I'm sorry, but those who are here know why I'm chuckling. Okay, for better or for worse, you know why I'm chuckling. Dominican Republic in the news. Of course, we got to talk about Dominican Republic. Of course, that I'm waiting for the dozens of Dominicans who come under your live. When you say anything about Dominican Republic, it's coming. I know it is. So interestingly, we talked about this last time. There was a big issue with the situation of us trying to do something downstream, of the Massacre River, building canals for irrigation. And the Dominican Republic had a problem with that. Because they felt, I don't know what they felt, I'll be honest with you. They felt that there was a treaty, they weren't informed of us working and building a canal downstream of them, and they wanted us to stop, even though they have dozens of canals on that same river in the Dominican Republic. So long story short, the diplomats sat on Haitian side, the Jovenel Moise sat with the president of Dominican Republic, and they squashed the situation. They made it clear that, hey, Haiti does have, believe it or not, Haiti has the rights to its resources and to do what's needed for its national sovereignty. And we have treaties with you, Dominican Republic, that clearly states that we have these rights, and the situation was squashed. Right? They have 13. Barika TV tells me they have 13. Right? And so that's the end of that cycle. That it became a national incident that Haiti wanted to do some actual development on its territory, and the Dominican Republic's had a problem with it. Yeah, this is the world we live in, guys. This is the world we live in, where Haiti wants to do something for itself, and the Dominican Republic says, "Wait a minute, what's going on? We don't allow it." Y'all take that for what it means to you. Okay. Moving forward, we did talk about TPS, but TPS officially has been extended for 18 months. The Joe Biden administration on the 24th did announce that they've extended it for 18 months, right? Right? They have extended it for 18 months officially as of May. Okay. Education, the donation of $12 million to support Education Cannot Wait. This is an initiative, by the way, from a lot of major partners, including UN, including UNESCO, including a lot of just major French development agency, USAID. They give a specific portion to, and this came about because of a summit that happened, and a desire from that summit to continue to do action and work on this particular issue. And 12 million has been earmarked to help specifically with a few different things. 10 million will be going to an endowment fund, which will be managed by the Caribbean sorry, that's another news story. But the specific terms for this really has to do with spreading out. That 12 million is going to be spread out 4 million over each year for about 3 years, and it's just to help students who get affected during times of crisis, right? To allow them to be able to attend university, attend schools, and help with other issues related to access to education and the quality of education for Haitian children, right? So again, if you want more information on that, it's just type in Education Cannot Wait, and you can get more information on what exactly the organization is about and what they're trying to do in Haiti. But 12 million is not peanuts. It's quite a bit. 11 million euros is from France, and it's going to support biodiversity in Haiti. 11 million euros, right? The ambassador to France, Jose Gomez, credited a memorandum that was announced a few months ago to provide from the French Development Agency to fund the Haitian Fund for Biodiversity. 10 million is going to a regional fund managed by the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, and 1 million is going to help support the institutional support for that same organization. So in other words, the overhead. Right? So 10 million is actually supposed to go to the specific projects that give results. 1 million is going to go to overhead. And of course, one thing you need to know is 36% of like 5,000 plants and 75% of the 2,000 vertebrate species in Haiti are endemic, meaning you cannot find them anywhere else in the world except for Haiti, right? And so this biodiversity fund is going to help support the ecosystems where this native nature exists. Okay. Haitians will benefit from 900,000 will benefit from humanitarian. Oh, what can I say the word? Humanitarian. There you go. Humanitarian aid, right? 900,000 are going to the World Food Program is providing food rations. It really started since 2021. Emergency aid in terms of healthcare, et cetera, to another 200,000 Haitians. And this is in part through funding from the USAID and a collaboration of the World Food Program itself, providing and working on providing access to critical humanitarian assistance for Haitians in Haiti, which is news we got to talk about, which is great news, right? Agriculture. The Minister of Agriculture has announced that the private poultry sector, they're going to be focused in the coming months to helping fortify that area. Very recently, there's been issues with supply chain of poultry in the area in Haiti, particularly getting young baby chicks. Because a big part of supply chain is young baby chicks. Young baby chicks to getting young baby chicks to the population is a big part of the supply chain. And actually, bear with me. A big part of the supply chain has to do. Y'all bear with me. All right, sorry about that, guys. Quick little interruption. All right, we're back. As a big part of the supply chain for Haiti has to do with chicks, because a lot of chicks have to come from other countries to be raised and then grown and then sold. And a lot of times, a lot of chickens are sold alive, and then they'll raise it until they're ready to consume it. And so there's been a tremendous issue thus recently. I know of one associate of mine who has gone 3 months without receiving chickens. They actually have a chicken farm. And so the Ministry of Agriculture has been aware of the issue and is talking about what they need to do to help. They're talking about providing credit and working on technical constraints. I can tell you one of the big ones is the time of port. These chickens baby chicks really should have priority to get out of port and get to where they need to get to, which is generally an issue that I've heard has happened, right? Additionally, there's been a reported increase in domestic rice production, right? There's been an increase. The U.S. Agriculture Department and its annual reports, and while sharing that is imported 515 tons of rice, they've also said that they've seen an increase in the amount of production that has happened for Haiti, from Haiti, concerning the season, right? Which is estimated to increase by a few tons, right? A few thousand tons, right? Which is a big gap between when you were talking about 515,000 tons, right? And again, you understand something. Back in 1985, Haiti only imported 700 tons. 700 tons. Today, we're talking about 519,000 tons, right? So Haiti has quite a bit of a ways to go, right? Quite a bit of ways to go, right? Quite a bit of ways to go, right? Because back in that same era, Haiti produced around 154,000 tons, right? And the recent figures has it as low as 76,000 tons. 76,000 tons in 2004 is what the domestic production has been, right? So again, it's a problem. Certainly a tremendous problem. Of course, exacerbated by the increase in population, of course. But still, you should have seen during that period an increase in local rice production, but we've seen a decrease despite the same factors that have caused the import of rice to increase to 515,000 tons. Right? And we're the factors. We talked about the factors here in Haiti before. A big part has been because of a big part of those factors have been because of state Haitian government not supporting and doing what they need to do for the local ecosystem, right? And that needs to change. And of course, the Ministry of Agriculture has expressed the desire to move forward and do better. They just actually need to execute, right? So the Haiti has come second. The second edition The annual competition of the best coca Creole gardens have come out, and this year 700 producers from the South participated, 55 finalists, and 16 folks were awarded for their production of their coca, right? And of course, this is like a farmer's market fair, right? And that's always great to have that degree of encouragement and for local farmers and local production. In addition, the Ministry of Agriculture was a part of another competition, the 4th edition of the National Quality Coca Competition, right, which includes 4 cooperatives and a coca production company, right? And this competition had many different organizers, right? And some of the winners were, and by the way, shout out to Haiti Biz for the $20. Any little bit helps. It is going to go to the war chest to help us do what we're doing here. I do want to give you a shout out and appreciate that. Haiti Biz, much love and much appreciation. Thank you, sir or madam. List of winners for the competition was Chamberlain Food Production and Market Cooperative, the Mandu Dins Ayune Farmers Cooperative, the Cooperative of Producers from Development of Anze Dayune, Damai Coca Agriculture Cooperative, and the Les Produits de Ile SA, Compagnie de Les Produits de Ile SA, headquartered in the north. The jury sampled the coca and made up of experts and a master chocolatier from across the world in Haiti. And these 5 winners were selected to now move on to the next round to represent Haiti in the International Coca Award. So we do hope that we win and we do well. And hopefully put Haiti on the map. Electricity, the Saint Michael de Atelier now has electricity. It's a small town that for the first time in its history has an electrical grid network with its citizens having access to electricity. Now, the CAFU, last we talked, the CAFU was supposed to have 2 gas turbines installed and operating, but it hasn't happened. And the reason why the EDH has said it's because between COVID and the situation in Matissa, a lot of the initial equipment and things could not happen. Employees could not get to work, right? And so we have a situation where the gas turbines are installed, but through some technical issues are not allowing it to complete, right? Which is certainly very, very problematic. We'll keep an eye on that. I can tell you, I haven't, when the turbines are up, they say that Port-au-Prince metro areas is supposed to have anywhere from 15 to 18 hours of electricity. I can tell you right now, we've been having every 2 to 3 days, we have 3 to 4 hours of electricity, which is mind-boggling. Wasn't for the solar panels I have here, I wouldn't be speaking to you right now. And it is a dire situation. Why, if it's between solar panels and Delco is running. I hear one in the background here, not too far from here. The electrical situation in Haiti is dire, right? So we keep an eye on that, and hopefully next time we're on air, we can tell you that the gas turbines are doing what they've been or supposed to do. One situation certainly that I do have to talk about has to do with a developing situation in the Pellegrini Dam. Assailants have attacked this infrastructure. The Pellegrini Dam, as you know, is a dam that provides several dozen megawatts to Port-au-Prince primarily. And the story is still not too clear. Apparently it's men who used to work for the Pellegrini Dam. Some folks are saying they never worked there. They were hired illegally, but in any case, they gained access to it. They were let go, but they kept coming to work. And currently they not only last news story, not only were they around, but there's reports that they've even damaged some of the infrastructure in the Pellegrini Dam. So this is a developing story. We'll certainly come back and circle back to it next month and see ultimately what the streets have shared specifically on the who, what, why And of course, if these men get any consequence, fined and arrested. But certainly, this is a very disturbing story in a country already where we have electricity issues, and we hear that one of the most important electrical infrastructure that we have currently, we have unknown assailants within the Pellegrini Dam, and the state is trying to regain full access to it. Right. So we'll certainly circle back on that news story when we can. There's talks of reparations. Well, not really, but there's been an interesting news story where let's go ahead and drop this here. Interesting news story here, where there's a database, right? There's a database that you can go and take a look at that. You can see, so first off, officially tabulates that Haiti, the equivalent of the indemnity was about 60 billion euros in today's currency, right? 60 billion. And what's interesting is you can track almost to the penny who got what. Because remember, the indemnity was done to do what? To repay specific colonialists, in other words, slave owners who could no longer own the property because they fought and freed themselves, to compensate them, right? Meaning there were payments made from France to these owners after they collected a certain amount of money from the Haitian government. And so this database, you can actually go and you can actually see the names of the people who because they had to go to the government and say, hey, yeah, I was a colonialist, or I owned some government, some paperwork. So they had to show the titles and deeds of their ownership, and they would get real money from France concerning their lost property, right? And I think this is fascinating. It's fascinating to have this database. You guys, I just shared it in Facebook, and I shared it on YouTube. I just shared that link, and I'll share it one more time. By the way, I just share it. It's just one of those things that are just absolutely mind-boggling. You get to the news story, right? But then in the news story, you get the actual link in the website that you can go to, and it's mind-boggling to see. That's the one thing no one ever talks about. Like okay, France Haiti had to pay indemnity, and we wanted back France. But understand, France didn't keep it. France, it's not like it stayed within the French government. You have to understand that France turned around and gave it to French citizens, right? Actual French citizens then pocketed it and did, investments and whatever, and it just went on. It just one in one hand and another. And so you can see the actual human beings that profited, right? That profited from the evisceration of our economy, right? And it's thousands of people who profited. If Haiti is where it is today, with gangs fighting and doing open war in Matissa, these people, if there's anybody to be held responsible, anyone, it's these people. And ultimately, their descendants who profited from the money they got from their ancestors, who got money from this incredibly heinous exercise of forcing a government, forcing a country that just fought in blood for its freedom to then pay. And it took, officially, they say up until 1885, 1887. But the depth, the spiraling depth that this caused, right? Because you paid it off, but then you had to get another loan to pay to actually fund your government, right? That cycle really didn't end until about 1943 or so, right? Or somewhere between 1926 and 1940, right? The reason why the U.S. occupied Haiti was because of debts that were related to the remittances. The indemnity, right? The indemnity, not remittances, the indemnity. Okay. So anyways, it's a really interesting article. I do invite you guys to go check it out. It will blow your mind. Rose Lumet Saint-Jean, congratulations to her. She won the International Eloquence Competition on May 25th. Congrats to her. It was a competition where folks were invited in France to basically speak on different topics, and she won by really a landslide. She was the next person. She had the sum of votes for the next 3-4 people. I can tell you a big part of that was Haitians voting for her in America. In Haiti and all across the world, voting for her. So props and respect to her and the community coming together. She had over 25,000 votes, right? And it's quite a very prestigious award, extremely prestigious award to win for someone like her, for someone in her domain of public speaking, right? So good for her. And always happy that Haitian can strut our stuff and make our name not be associated with what they want our names to be associated with, right? So hats off to Rose. In sports, the Cavalry champions of Caribbean, the Cavalry AS of Leogan, won a Caribbean competition by beating Suriname 3-0 in the past few weeks over at the Felix Sanchez Olympic Stadium in Dominican Republic in the Flow Caribbean Championship. Right, so hats off. I'm happy to report there is some winning happening for Haitian soccer. Right, there is some winning, right, and we want to cheer for these guys. It's a great win. But the other news was as it relates to soccer, the Haiti World Cup. Listen, let's start it like this way. Let's say we beat Belize 2-0, and then we beat Turks and Caicos 10-0. And I say we, the Haitian national team, 10-0. After that, we went to Nicaragua. Nicaragua came to Haiti, and we beat them 1-0. Right, so we had a great track record. We didn't do nothing, right? But then unfortunately, Canada really cleaned our bells. We lost. We lost to them in the first bout we had to play them with on 1-0, and then on the second round we lost 3-0, and most embarrassingly, we had an own goal. A very embarrassing own goal that is mind-boggling to see how that happened. Literally, one of our teams passed it to the goalie, and the goalie missed it, and then on trying to kick it back out, actually kicked it in, which is like, wow, who hires you, son? Like, I don't. The reason why it's so painful because I was looking forward to the emotion and the exuberance and the self-confident boost that last year when we beat Canada gave us, right? But it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to, we weren't going to see rah-rahs in the streets like we did last, for the CONCACAF Cup, I believe, which is what was it, CONCACAF Cup? You guys help me out here. Was it the gold something cup, something like that, right? But in any case, we aren't gonna go we're not gonna go far, and our World Cup dreams is over, regrettably, right? And finally, the last bit of news has to do with Naomi Osaka. Of course, if you guys have been following the news, she decided to step out of the French Cup because of concerns relating to the questions that she gets. She initially refused to answer questions, but given the feedback and the amount of attention that she was getting, like ironically, she did it to get less attention, but she got more attention, and so she completely just removed out of the French Open, and also announced that she would not participate in the next Open, which I believe is the English Open as well. I believe she's also announced she's not going to participate in that either, citing ultimately mental health concerns, right? Ultimately mental health concerns, right? So I certainly hope Naomi Osaka keeps pushing. We need her. We need her, to continue to be dominant. We need her to continue to show the world what Haiti's about and use her platform to talk of Haiti and talk well of Haiti. Because Lord knows Vice News isn't, Miami Herald isn't, CNN isn't, right? Fox News won't. So we need someone like her, Serena Williams level superstar like her, to keep winning and keep shining a light on Haiti. So, but she did announce she is going to participate in the Olympics. So there's no coming out of that. She's going to participate in the Olympics. So we're rooting for Naomi. We're rooting for her mental health and well-being. Right? So that's the news, right? Usually I do a quick wrap up, but time is a ticking. It's already 11 a.m. and I have an incredibly busy day ahead of me. And so I won't be able to stick around. I usually do like sticking around and reading the comments as well. But I won't be able to. Already at 2 hours and 15 minutes on the live, and I got to go. But listen, guys, I appreciate everyone who stuck around, everyone who shared the live, everyone who liked and commented the video, commented on the video. I appreciate it. As always, just know in between our meetings, our monthly meetings, we do check out the book. I would go ahead and drop the link. 101 ways to make money in Haiti. Lucrative business ideas, insightful success stories, interesting business opportunities for visionary entrepreneurs. That's out. I do invite you guys to check out the action group, the Facebook action group, where it's a space where I really want folks, you guys, to keep sharing, articles and information that empowers us. And that's really your space to keep this conversation going. The conversations that I've seen in the chat room today, let's keep that conversation going. If you like what we got going on here, you really do want to support us in another way while also getting something back for your support. I do welcome you to join the private WhatsApp group. The private WhatsApp group is $20, but you get my attention. I saw someone here asking to answer a question. I'm about to head out, so I don't have time to answer it. But if you do want to be part of a community of 35, some of the most productive Haitians I've ever met in this channel. Right? Join it. Every day I provide action tips. We do monthly meetups where we meet up at Zoom and we have conversations. You can talk to me directly in these environments, and in that chat. But one of the reasons too I have this chat is specifically so as I give a response, everyone in the channel can also benefit from it. Right? Rather than having these one-on-one conversations, I don't have time. I've 17, 18, 20,000 people who are subscribed, which I appreciate. A lot of these guys a lot of you folks really do want to do the country right. But remember, I'm running several businesses myself. So the only way and I'm married. You see this ring here? I'm married. I got to give the wife attention. You know what that is, right? And so between that, this is a space where conversations can happen. People can help each other. And I guess I do provide my time as well. And I know my time is being valued because the resources you guys provide to the WhatsApp group allows SeeJeanty Media to do its thing. Allows us to grow our team here, allows us to travel, show you guys different parts of Haiti, no matter what's happening. We're able to go out, and show incredible stuff being done by incredible Haitians. So remember, just keep that in mind. That is an option for you guys. And you're getting a lot for your value. We have an incredible attorney in there who's 25 plus years, who provides a legal perspective as well in the WhatsApp group. So do consider being a part of that group if you're interested, right? And again, we'll be back next month. And of course, weekly content, YouTube SeeJeanty, we have incredible content coming up. I'll just preview, one of my most popular stream of videos have been real estate videos. Folks really hungry to see, a different perspective, different view, different side of Haiti that isn't the fliff and fluff. There's a reason why Black Panther did well. The movie, the Marvel movie Black Panther. There's a reason why that movie did well, and it did well because it showed a different side of Blackness. It showed awesomeness. It showed strength. It showed us looking good, smelling good, talking good, at our best and what we could be, our potentiality, right? And a lot of my real estate highlights, it's about that. It's about showing what is possible here. What the style of life you could have here, right? And that's one reason why it's just so well received. It's the reason why those videos are some of the most popular videos, because Hollywood has not figured that out yet. Hollywood thinks Black people want to see slave stories. They think they want to see. And Harriet Tubman was great. But there's for every Harriet Tubman who did great, but it's a slave era movie, which we have dozens of. There's a Manu Musa movie that has not yet been made yet, where you have Black excellence doing exceptional. Always ask yourself that. Always ask yourself, why is it we don't have more? Like, why isn't there a Black Panther 2 already? Like, one of the most popular movies that Disney has come out with, particularly as it relates to Black people, right? Why isn't there? Yeah, there's Black Panther 2 coming out. But honestly, any other movie that did the numbers Black Panther 2 came out, they would have announced 4 more versions. They said, hey, we've just locked in 4 more Black Panther movies. Right? And I go on this tangent to say, that's what this channel is about. This channel is about showing, the capacity of us Haitians to do well for Haiti. And imagine if Vice News came in and instead of going to interview Barbecue, they interviewed the countless Haitians who are working day to day to improve our country and improve it for us, for Haiti, right? For every one barbecue, I can give you 100 impactful Haitians. In fact, in my book, almost every idea has someone, an entrepreneur, who is doing a version of the idea, right? And is doing well. Why not interview them? You see, that's fine. I'm not gonna wait for Vice News to stop sensationalizing our country. I'm gonna do it myself. That's why SeeJeanty's here, right? That's why we do it here. I don't have time. Lord knows I don't, but someone has to do it, right? And I look forward to more channels like this. And that's why I gave shout out to Carrie, who's doing some great work, Haitian. And Vladimir Jean is someone who we got to do something. I got to call Vladimir. We got to do something. He was a big reason why we were able to do well. In fact, we have something planned. In fact, I got to lock down the date. We do have something planned for July, actually. So a lot of folks who are doing great work in the same space of providing hope and inspiration and desire to impact Haiti, where others don't, who are not Haitian, who don't. They're doing, but we need more. We need more. If you're watching this, by the way, just know, you don't have to. Quit your job and come to Haiti like I did it when I initially came. But when you do come to Haiti, post your IG, share images, share with your friends, share with your family for sure, who may have just one particular perspective of the country, because we need to know that Haiti belongs to us, and it's our responsibility to change it. And it's a fight because a lot of people are perfectly fine the way Haiti is. And it's our responsibility to say, no, we're going to do something about this. We're going to do something about this country, right? So that's where we're going to end this episode of Haiti Biz News, and be back next month. Be safe, guys. Avoid COVID, and let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing for the Haiti we all deserve. Let's keep pushing for the Haiti that works for all Haitians. All Haitians. The poor street merchant, right? The person who's so poor can't even street merchant. They're just asking, right? Panhandlers, to the very slim middle class who are just trying day to day, to even the gun egg. I hope the gun eggs one day realize that they need to start putting their money towards things that can really expand our economy instead of just importing. Though I understand too that, listen, in every other country, the gun eggs don't do things for their country because they like their country. In every other country, gun eggs do stuff for their country because there's tax incentives. The government incentivizes behavior and penalizes other behavior and forces the gun eggs to do that just so happen to do things that helps the country while they're making buku money. Right? So I don't necessarily, gun eggs will do what's logical for them. I'm not even hating on the gun eggs, because the gun eggs in Haiti act just like the gun eggs in America, right? At the end of the day, all roads lead back to government, and we have to be in a position, we in the diaspora who care about this country, we have to be in a position to influence this government to do what's right for us and all Haitians. But in the meantime, I'm not telling you to wait for the government. I'm not telling you to become a politician. I'm telling you, build that first necessary step, which is economic empowerment for ourselves in the diaspora by coming to Haiti, building the right type of businesses, providing the right amount of jobs, right? And then taking it out to that next floor. All right? All right, guys, that's it. We'll be back at it again when we're back at it again. Peace.